This is an epistolary of the biggest mistake of my life. My name is Jupsia. I am an accounting student in the University of Buea. My story is not going to be about my school, my qualifications, and all that. No, I am here to share with you all how the reality of life hit me at one point so hard. And when it did, everything just went south. Everything turned upside down. All my dreams and aspirations while growing up, all shattered and dismissed into thin air. Growing up as a kid, I loved the home in which I was brought up. It wasn't because of the so much affluence my dad wielded, nor was it the businesses my mom ran that my dad had opened up for her. Daddy was a well-to-do businessman. He usually traveled a lot, and when he returned, he had presents for us that made us all happy. I had the best daddy if you asked me. Dad had made a good success for himself at an early age. Then he got married to Mom. I heard they loved each other so much. Their bond was simply inseparable and so strong that our neighbors, people down the block admired them, and so did I. I was the only child, and being so, I had everything I wanted. My dad especially made sure I was happy. He had told me at one time that because of the circumstances under which I came into their lives, he swore with himself to love and care for me and always stand by me. But sadly enough, it is not the case today. Dad had been suffering from prostate cancer during his adolescence, and the doctor had told him it was only going to be by a miracle that he would be able to father a child. He married Mom, and she knew about it. They both agreed they will fight it in all ramifications. Now I am not even here to talk about them, how they fought it, how they got me here, and all. Just sharing a part of my life where I know many of you will learn and don't make same mistakes I did. I'm still very young, and 21, I still haven't given up. I still sleep and dream so big that sometimes it even scares me. But you know the saying, dream it into reality. My deepest or the biggest thing that bothers me today is where I have let my life to carry me to. My whole mess up. The highest point of regret and self-condemnation that has put my entire life into a standstill. The conjugal life my parents lived inspired me a lot, and I really thought to myself, it will be good to become like them. Yes, be a good girl. Focus on my education, graduate with the best degree, land myself a high-paying white-collar job, fall in love with someone's son. My tragedy all started with a boy named Beltis. Beltis. Even saying his name now sends cold shivers down my spine. Beltis wasn't my first boyfriend, but he was the first man who made me believe in love outside of my parents' love. We met in Buea at a cafe close to the Great Sopo Market. I was sitting with my best friend Linda, sipping this natural mango juice. I really love mango juice. When he walked in, he was tall, dark-skinned, confident. He smiled at us, and something in me melted. Linda noticed immediately. "Jubs, if you keep staring, you'll bore a hole in his shirt," she teased. Beltis approached our table, introduced himself in this friendly and appealing way that looked cute to me, and before long, he was part of our conversation. He had this charisma that pulled people in. Even a small talk, he knew how to sustain a small talk. He talked about his dreams of starting a logistics company in Douala, about his hustles, about wanting a woman who believed in him. I felt chosen, as if destiny had walked into the cafe and chosen me. Our relationship grew quickly. Beltis was everything. My protector, my confidant, my dream sharer. I shared all my life with him. My parents liked him too, especially Mom. She always said, "He has vision, my daughter. Hold on to that." But slowly, Beltis started showing possessiveness. He questioned where I went, who I spoke to, why I dressed a certain way. I told myself it was love, just an overdose of it. You know that jealous type of love Dad you sang about in Halu? I ignored the warnings from Linda, who said, "Jubs, love shouldn't cage you. It should free you." But I didn't listen, because by then, I was already too deep. Deep deep, deep. With Beltis, life felt like a roller coaster. There were highs and lows. There were highs so sweet they made me forget the world, and lows that left me drowning in tears. Many days, I cried myself to bed. We started spending more time together, sometimes even at the expense of my studies. I missed lectures, skipped group projects, and began lying to my parents. I told myself I could balance it all, but truthfully, I was spiraling. This thing was becoming a frenzy. One evening in mile 17, Buea, Beltis came over to my hostel. He brought suya and Congo meat with a lot of peppers, my favorite, and whispered, "You're my world, Jubs. I can't imagine life without you." My heart swelled, and before I realized it, I was giving him a part of me I had promised to save for marriage. At first, it felt like love, but then came the changes. Beltis became colder, distant, sometimes disappearing for days. When I asked, he'd snap, "Don't stress me with questions." The worst came when I found texts on his phone from another girl. My chest tightened. I confronted him, and instead of apologizing, he shouted, "If you don't trust me, you can as well leave." I couldn't. I was trapped between love and fear of losing him. I told myself I could make him change. I clung tighter, but soon something happened that shattered everything. I missed my period. The fear that gripped me was indescribable. I prayed it was stress, or maybe a delay. But when the test kit showed 2 bold lines, my world collapsed. Pregnant, I sat on my bed in tears, holding the test kit as if it was a weapon aimed at my future. I thought of my parents, of Dad's sacrifices, of Mom's pride, of the dreams I carried for myself. Everything seemed destroyed in one single mistake. When I told Beltis, expecting comfort, he stared at me like I had cursed him. "Jubsia, you can't keep this," he said coldly. "I'm not ready to be a father. How do we survive? I'm only over 24. Where are we going to live? I refuse to bring my boy or my girl to this world when I don't have something to give them. Do you want to ruin my life? Ruin yours?" I begged him to stand by me. I cried and told him this was the highest moment I needed him by my side, but he walked away. For weeks, I carried the weight alone. I couldn't tell Mom. I couldn't tell Dad. Linda was the only one who knew, and she wept with me, saying, "You trusted the wrong person, Jubs. But you're not alone. If it is to cry, I will cry with you." And she joined me in crying. Yet, even with her comfort, I felt utterly abandoned. The shame, the fear, the regret, it consumed me. And then came the night everything spiraled out of control. The night I made the worst decision of my life, without even thinking of what my parents might have to say about all this. It was in a small clinic in Buea, hidden behind a mechanic shop, dimly lit, smelling faintly of bleach and rust. Linda held my trembling hand as the nurse whispered, "It will be quick. No one will ever know." Abortion. I wanted to scream, to run, to rewind my life and make different choices. But the fear of facing my parents, of disappointing them, of destroying their trust, blinded me. I nodded. And just like that, I gave up a part of myself I can never recover. The pain was unbearable. Not just physical, but emotional. As I lay there, tears streaming, I kept hearing my dad's voice echoing in my head. "You are my miracle, Jubsia. I will protect you even with my life." I walked out of that clinic hollow, broken and ashamed. Linda tried to comfort me, but how could she? How could anyone understand the weight of carrying life and choosing to end it? From that day, nothing was the same. I avoided my parents, skipped classes, locked myself in my hostel room. I hated myself. I saw Beltis once. After that, he acted like nothing happened. I felt rage, but mostly sorrow for ever trusting him. The guilt grew like fire in my chest. It consumed my joy, my laughter, my very identity. Until one day, Dad walked into my room unexpectedly and asked, "Gypsia, what's wrong with you? You're not the daughter I know." I froze. Dad's eyes pierced through me, searching for answers I couldn't give. "Is it school stress? Money? Tell me, Gypsia," he pleaded. I opened my mouth, but no words came. How could I tell the man who called me his miracle that I had destroyed one of my own? In fact, I had destroyed something he almost couldn't get. I simply said, "I'm fine, Dad," and forced a smile. But inside, I was screaming. Days turned into weeks. Depression set in. I avoided friends, stopped attending lectures, and lost weight rapidly. Linda grew worried. One night, she held me and said, "Jubs, you need to heal. This guilt will eat you alive if you don't." But how do you heal when every heartbeat reminds you of your mistake? Every heartbeat reminds you of your biggest blunder? Then something unexpected happened. Mom found a diary under my pillow. I had written everything in it: the love, the betrayal, the pregnancy, the abortion, every detail. When I returned from class that day, she was sitting on my bed, the diary in her hands, tears rolling down her face. "Gypsia," she whispered, "why didn't you come to me? Why carry this alone?" Her pain was worse than my own. Seeing her cry broke me completely. I fell to my knees, sobbing, "I'm sorry, Mama. I didn't want to disappoint you. I wasn't sure how you and Dad would take it." But instead of anger, she hugged me tight. "You are my daughter. Nothing will ever change that." And just when I thought I had reached the lowest point, Dad walked in. The look on Dad's face when he saw Mom holding me shattered me. His strong shoulders slumped. His eyes filled with unshed tears. He didn't need words. The truth was written all over his face. "Gypsia," he said quietly, "is it true?" I couldn't speak. I just nodded. For the first time in my life, Dad turned away from me. He walked to the window, staring outside, silent. The silence was louder than any shout. Finally, he said, "I swore to love you, to protect you. But Gypsia, you should have trusted me." His disappointment cut deeper than any knife. The following weeks were cold at home. Dad barely spoke to me, though Mom tried to bridge the gap. I felt like a stranger in my own family. The house that once held laughter now echoed with my shame. I began questioning everything. Who was I becoming? What future did I even have left? Then one evening, Dad finally broke the silence. He sat across from me and said, "Gypsia, you made the worst mistake of your life. You know very well you are our only child. You got pregnant and decided to have an abortion without letting us to know about it. What if you had died in the process?" I almost couldn't bear a child years into my marriage, and when I finally had you, I praised God and said, "I will pay-o-tech this gift with all my power." Then you turn around and do this to me? Did you even think that I would love to have a grandchild? Dad's words ate me up seriously, and I couldn't believe what I had done. Dad maintained a very stony silence in the house from that day. He didn't answer anything about me. Months passed, and slowly I began rebuilding. I went back to lectures, started focusing on my studies again, and joined a youth fellowship in church where I found support. Beltis tried reaching out, but I ignored him. I realized love isn't supposed to break you. Love is supposed to build you. And if it doesn't, then it's not love. Linda remained by my side, reminding me daily that healing is a journey, not a sprint. Mom became my safe place, encouraging me to dream again. Today, I'm still a 1-year-old girl navigating life's storms, but I've learned one lesson the hardest way possible. Never let love blind you to the point of losing yourself. The biggest mistake of my life was giving away pieces of myself until nothing was left. But mistakes are not the end. They are lessons carved deep into our souls. To every young person listening, protect your dreams, protect your body, and protect your peace. Don't trade them for temporary feelings. Learn from my mistake so you don't have to learn the hard way, because the hardest regrets are the ones we can never undo. Thank you for staying through with us on this one till the end. I hope my story inspired you, motivated you, and kept you guided. Like Mr. Leo saying, if you get pregnant, do not throw it away, because even if it is one loaf of bread, we gon' share it. Bye-bye for now, and please do not leave the page. Keep following, because if you follow, you are surely on the right path to greatness. Stick around for the next story that drops in a bit. Thank you for your time and patience, and please keep following. Bye-bye. I love you all.